Well, hi, it's Kim. Today I'm at an estate sale. In fact, this is the home I'm in the process of buying. I decided I'd come, grab what furniture I could, and go check out the garden border to see what I've got ahead of me once we're the actual owners of this home. But let me show you what I bought. I bought a few pieces of furniture, this little table with little claw feet, a drop leaf table. There were two of those. I figured all of these will be great for plants to set on. A secretary desk was really pretty, real nice looking wood, a long planter table, and look at that windowsill. I love the windowsill. But let's get out to the garden and see what we've got out here. We'll just go around and see if you can help me identify. Right here by the back door, I think it's a forsythia bush. At least that's what those leaves look like. And not real sure, but I'm kind of looking forward to this. It definitely needs to be trimmed down. This particular home was occupied by an older lady who has now gone to a nursing home. I think that's a rhododendron. Could be an azalea. I don't know the difference between the two. Maybe I can tell once they bloom, if I can get it to bloom. But it's huge. There's a lot of scrappy trees, scrub trees, weeds like growing through it, but she wasn't able to upkeep in her garden at all. So that's what I've got ahead of me once we move in. Now this looks like a kind of scrappy looking holly bush. It's probably going to need a lot of trimming, and maybe I can trim it excuse me, around Christmas and just take advantage of those little things to decorate my planters. Now looks like an emerald arborvitae or thuya. I like that. It's in pretty good shape, but oh my God, do I have a lot of winter creeper around here. I'm going to just have to handle it. In a lot of places it's growing up the brick wall. I'll have to at least get that back under control. There's wild strawberries growing under there too. And of course more of what I'm calling a scrub tree. I don't know. Another big giant emerald arborvitae and another azalea. This one's kind of a smaller plant, so maybe I'll say azalea as opposed to rhododendron, but I'm not familiar with the difference. I'll have to wait to see what they are when I bloom. And look at the winter creeper creeping up to the windowsills. Believe me, it gets worse. Now here's more holly. This is kind of a huge bush, so even if I cut down the other one, I'll still have a lot of the holly branches for the winter, because you can see this one's a very large bush. And the winter creeper, of course, there in the background. It's about to get swamped out. Now that's a kitchen window that I can put hummingbird feeders out here and really get some good views. Now right here near the fireplace, some Virginia creeper creeping up. Now I'm going to have to pull that away. Don't want that to get on the brick. An old phone line there. She was still installed phone lines. Now there's a monstrous boxwood here across the back. It's huge. I didn't even realize they got that tall, if I'm identifying that correctly. But it looks like a big boxwood. Same little tiny leaves as I have on my tiny ones, but it looks in pretty good shape. It's just real thick in there, so it must have been trimmed frequently until it was allowed to run wild. But it looks really good. A lot of bushes down through here. Now the yard is very, very flat. That's one of the things we looked for. If you read my post back on the blog, we at first contracted for a house that was on a steep hill and then changed our minds when there were a lot of inspection problems. But this one's nice and flat. Now there's a tiny rock garden with a little bird bath with a lot of quickweed, of course, taking over. But I'll just plant this full of succulents to kind of hang over the side. There's a broken edge there, but I can do a lot with this. Maybe even enlarge it to a larger rock garden. I may need to dig those rocks out and get it all refreshed. But that will come when I get to move in. Now back over at the border, there are a lot of these little evergreen. I'm not sure what these are. Bird's nest. There's something, a bird's nest evergreen. Looks like maybe a globe arborvitae. But I've got to explore and come in here and start cleaning it out. Now look at the winter creeper up here on the windowsill. Now I can't, that's not going to appeal to me. You may love that where you are, but no, I want that controlled and on the ground if I even leave it. Now that looks like an arborvitae in there, maybe an Alberta spruce. And then of course there's some dahlias. I stopped to talk to a neighbor, and they are very, very friendly here. It's going to be a wonderful neighborhood to get into. This looks like a sprout of a rose of Sharon. Not sure, little out of place, so I'll probably cut that down. But I have a lot of decisions to make once we come in here. And more boxwood. A lot of boxwood. That's my grandson. He's going on the tour with me. He came to drive me. He's a new driver. So anywhere I say, "Ooh, yep, I'll drive you, Nana. I'll drive you." So I'm taking advantage of that. More winter creeper on this windowsill. It's going way up the windowsill. So when it's mine, that's all going to get pulled. All of it. We'll keep a nice little low round bush on the ground. That's all I want. Get rid of the rest. Now, I'm not sure what that looks like, a scrub tree, something growing in there, but I'll get rid of that. If you know what that is and can identify it as something I should keep, let me know, but it's of course going to have to be got under control and trimmed. Now, pennies are a wonderful discovery. Right here on this, I think it's the south side of the house, there are a lot of peonies, and I want those. I'd love to be able to clear those out and take advantage. But then, surprise, poison ivy. And I don't mean a little sprig or two. Look at this poison ivy growing all the way up to the eaves of the house. It is so thick in there. It's covering more of the winter creeper, of course, but it is just entwined back in there. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if this is more than I can handle, or I'm going to have to see if maybe a landscape company can come in and clear this side of the house. I don't want to lose any of the established plants, even though maybe I should. But look at that thicket of poison ivy that I've got to pull out and get rid of. My daughter's extremely allergic to that. I can't have her in this or brushing up against it. She ends up having to go to the doctor, have shots. She gets very severely if she just brushes by. So I've got to get rid of this. No questions asked. But we'll see if I can get a quote and see what that might be. And there's again that little weird little scrub tree that's in here. Now there's a little bit of grape ivy. I don't mind that, but I don't want that to take over. So that'll probably have to get pulled. And it's entwined around boxwood and more poison ivy. This is get ridiculous. But here on the far corner, with probably a lot of poison ivy in it, is a huge rhododendron. Don't know if that blooms nicely. Has it been trimmed recently? I don't know. I'd like to see what it would look like in the spring and get it under control, but that is going to depend on if I can get rid of that poison ivy. And when it's small like that, I can pull it. I can, enclose it with a bag, pull it with rubber gloves, and get rid of it that way. But I don't know how I'd be able to get rid of the large leaves that are taller than me. Now this looks like an Alberta spruce that's in really poor shape. They're dying out the back side. I think there's 3 of them across here, and they're looking bad. And of course, here around the front, more poison ivy, more winter creeper. I've got to really get that cleared out. Now the Alberta spruce, I didn't take a good angle right there, but it is all dyed out in the back. Sorry about the sun glare, but I'm starting to face the sun. Those are all dyed out on the back, so they're going to have to be gotten rid of. I don't see them recovering at all. I see a little bit of detached downspout line. I've got to get that taken care of when we move in. Now there's Virginia creeper growing up near the front door. I don't want it to grow on the brick, so I'll be pulling that. But that is Virginia creeper as opposed to the poison ivy. He's friendly. I don't mind him. But look at the way that Alberta spruce is. The whole back side of it is dead and gone. He's definitely going to have to go. But we'll see what kind of quotes I can get. I certainly can't dig that out. There's a lot of work here, but I can make it my own. Not sure what I want to do with here. I'd say the first year or so, here along the front, it's just full of periwinkle or vinca vine. It's just thick, stretches all the way out there. The far end has a lot of, I guess it's English ivy, trying to grow up the brick. I won't let that grow up the brick. I will try to pull that and probably pull and pull and pull for the next several years to get rid of that. But I like the flat yard. I like how everything looks and my shade trees, so I'm well pleased, but I'll keep you updated when I find out what's going on.